Yes, it is, and you're about to see why. It's a story that'll give you renewed faith in all of us. Watch how good people respond to the desperate situation of one elderly couple tonight. Those good people are my heroes. They were sitting there in a park in Bothell, alone, frightened, no money, no food, nowhere to go. They spoke no English. Lucy Paredes and Gregorio Mendoza, married for 45 years, are from Lima, Peru. In January, they arrived in the U.S. to visit their daughter. COVID-19 stranded them here. They couldn't fly home. As the months went by, something changed. There was tension with their daughter and her husband.
He started to change. There were faces made. He was yelling at us, and it affected us emotionally. My husband started to deteriorate. He could no longer walk. He had a stomach problem, no appetite. It was total decay. One day, after several months, he told me he couldn't take it anymore. And I said, we need to leave. I told him that we needed to leave.
And so pride stung. At 7 a.m. on a Friday last month, they packed up their things and walked out. They went to St. Elizabeth's Church, and they prayed there. Then they walked to this park in Bothell, and they sat down.
When I got to the park with my wife, I started to get the feeling that things were going to be very difficult. I put the suitcases down there in the park.
And that is when a neighborhood and then a larger community got involved. This guy, Anyel Dongo, saw the two of them there for the longest time.
And I approached them, and I was curious to know, like if they needed any help, and but they couldn't talk. They couldn't talk in English.
So he posted a message on the local Facebook page. It ended with a question. Anyone speaks Spanish in our community that can translate?
I found a human being, especially the elderly couple, sitting in the cold and dark weather. I just couldn't leave them in that condition. So I had to help them.
We were drinking a glass of wine, watching a movie.
John and Ileana Coons saw the post and walked to the park at 9 o'clock at night. Lucy and Gregorio had been there for 13 hours.
I felt sorry for them. They looked tired, hungry, desperate. They had their luggage neatly stacked, like right up here.
I asked, do you guys have money for a couple of nights in a hotel? And they said, no, we don't have money.
So Anyel called the sheriff, and Deputy John Craker showed up in the park.
My first impression was they had their luggage with them. They looked scared, they looked hungry.
With Ileana interpreting, Deputy Craker went to work.
Part of my job is to be a problem solver, so I tried looking up shelters, calling them.
There were no spots available, so the deputy drove them to the Extended Stay America Hotel.
Obviously, I'm not going to leave. I think they're in their 70s. I'm not going to leave them here in the little gazebo in the park.
From his own pocket, the deputy paid for 3 nights lodging.
I was so shocked that a police officer would be so worried about us that he would take us to a hotel and pay with his own money. He wanted to make sure we would be safe.
Meanwhile, John Coons went to work and set up a GoFundMe page for Lucy and Gregorio. Someone at the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office called the Peruvian consulate. Miguel Velazquez took the call, and he got busy.
People of Washington State, they are so generous. They have a big heart, and when they see a need, they respond.
Miguel called a woman named Flor Cruz, also Peruvian, who runs an Airbnb. She said she had a room.
They are the sweetest people. I call her my lost sister.
And so here they are, safe and comfortable, at a home, paid for through the generosity of strangers in a strange country. The GoFundMe raised over
$6,000. I'm so grateful and incredibly moved. In Peru, you don't see this kind of humanity. But here, so far away, in the United States, you see it.
They haven't decided what to do yet. The relationship with their daughter is fractured. Maybe time will heal, maybe it won't. But they're no longer alone or broke or hungry, and their hearts are full. Thanks to Anyel and John and Ileana and Deputy Craker and Miguel and Flor and a simple brand of decency that's more common than many of us would ever imagine, especially, as it turns out, in Bothell.
Oh, wow. know.
Way to go, Bothell.
So deserving, every single one of them.
And they all kind of stepped up, you know, at the same time, and it just became a really cool community thing.
So I want to know, will they be able to go back home?
The Peruvian consulate is going to fly them to Miami and then down to Lima, Peru, and they're leaving supposedly very soon. So I'm sure they're anxious to go home. Remember, we want to hear about the heroes where you live.